Jerry, I got to tell you, of all the introductions I've ever had, that is by far the most recent. Oh, yeah, there's something there. Well, good afternoon and welcome to the 2012 State of the City Address here for Nampa. You will realize and recognize today that winter has not quite given up here in Idaho. There's some snow on the ground today. It's beautiful to see that. I understand there was quite a bit of snow on the ground the Wednesday that I was supposed to come here. I didn't get to enjoy that. I was not here. You know this event was planned for a month ago. An unexpected emergency surgery prohibited that. I just have to say I am so grateful to Georgia and her staff. Their flexibility and ability to just make a shift, change a program, make it all happen so that we could move it to this day, just really was gratifying and humbling. Georgia, thank you so much for being so accommodating. Let's give the Chamber of Commerce a hand. And I do want to take, Dale, I appreciated what you said, and I want to give an example of great service. It was Leadership Nampa class on a Wednesday morning that we were actually at St. Al's over there, and I started feeling really bad, and I said, I think I need to go. And so I went right over to Salser. Where's Bill Savage? I went right over to Salser, which was just a short walk away, and they sent me right across the street to Dr. Valentine, the surgeon, and then I did a complete circle, and about at 2 o'clock, 2:30, they were getting me ready to cut me open on the same day. That's customer service. That's medical service. It was supposed to be a serious thing. I mean, that's the kind of great medical service that we have from St. Alphonsus, Nampa. And I got to say, St. Al's did a remarkable job of taking care of me. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. And I've been so overwhelmed by the outpouring of prayers and support from the community. It really has been a humbling experience for me. And I'm so grateful. Thank you. At times like this really help to readjust a person's perspective. The things that we get so wound up about in life tend to sort of just fade into the background noise of life. What is really important? Are we spending our resources and our time on what really matters? What rises to the top of my mind are family and friends, the relationships we form as we walk through this life together, and how we treat one another. When people look at Nampa, what do they see? We are the second largest city in the state of Idaho, a progressive community with a healthy business environment, making decisions, looking to the future, the long term, not just focused on the short term feel-good stuff. But mostly I hope people see a community that cares for its own, that takes care of those who are in need, and treats one another with dignity and respect. 2011 was a challenging, yet a good year for the city of Nampa and its people. We worked together, played together, laughed together. We prayed together, celebrated together. We cried together. And overall, we moved forward together. We are grateful for the safe return of our National Guard soldiers from another year's deployment in Iraq. Shane Windler, cross-connection specialist for the Water Division, was deployed to Iraq with Alpha Troop 2, 116th Cavalry Regiment. While in Iraq, Staff Sergeant Windler distinguished himself as a platoon sergeant, and he is here today. And I'm going to have you guys stand up here in just a minute. Others of our neighbors served deployments with the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, the Army. I want you to know that you were prayed for every day you were gone. And we rejoice in your safe return to your families. Major Paul White, recently promoted to command the 2nd Squadron, 116th Cavalry Brigade, is here today. And I want to know, are there any other active military or National Guardmen here? I would like to have you all stand, Shane and Major White, just let us thank you for your service. Any others? That you are welcome in our community. Well, we're on this journey together, and by building consensus and strong teamwork, we forge ahead. Your city council works hard for you, balancing the budget and solving problems for you. Martin Thorne, Pam White, and Steve Prinn are here today. Would you please stand and let us just thank you and recognize you for your work. also a good number of Nampa's volunteer people, workforce, who serve on our boards and commissions. If you serve on any board or any commission within the city of Nampa, would you please stand and let us just thank you for that work? It's a lot of time. I know there's a number of here. Thank you so much. There are also a number of Nampa's dedicated staff members here. You see some of them in orange, some of them in blue. Would all city employees please stand so we can thank you for your hard work? And I want to say a special thanks to my executive assistant, Peggy Shaver, for her hard work in helping keep me organized and for helping make this event happen. And I want to say a special thanks to Charlotte Arledge, who is back there in the back running the PowerPoint and just spent a lot of hours just putting all this stuff together. So thank you, ladies. Really appreciate it. There are also a number of other elected officials here today. I would like to ask you to stand because these folks work together with all of us to create a great place to live in Treasure Valley. So would all of you please stand? My Garden City, Steve Rule Commissioner, Sheriff Chris Smith, Brian Taylor. Did I miss any others? Oh, Darren Taylor, I'm sorry, my mind just was slipping there. I didn't see you stand up. Thanks, Darren, for being here. And we also want to thank Ricardo Pineda for being here. He's the Consulate of Mexico. We have a good number of our educational leaders here. You already heard from Dr. David Alexander of NNU. There's a good representation from College of Western Idaho, CWI. I know our very own board member, MC, is here. Are there any others from the leadership of CWI here? I know Bert's wife was here. Oh, back here. All right. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And of course, I know there's a good group from Nampa School District here. And of course, you've already heard from Eric Forseth of Nampa Christian Schools. I also want to say thank you to Channel 7 for broadcasting this event. That is a great avenue to get this word out. This past November, at the Economic Forum held right here in the Civic Center, we heard from Justin Sidhu. He spoke on the recovery from the recession being more about perception than about projections. Today, I'd like to focus on that idea, perception, because in large part, perception drives our reality. We will present some data, so you won't be disappointed with numbers and stuff, but data can be interpreted differently based upon a person's perception. For example, when you drive around the city of Nampa, which do you pay more attention to? The empty commercial spaces or the new businesses moving into those available spaces? And how does that attention drive your perception of the health of the city of Nampa? You know me well enough to know that I maintain a positive and optimistic outlook on life. I interpret data from this position and this perspective, and I make no apologies for doing so. On the cover of Popular Mechanics for January is this caption: 12 ways the world could end in 2012. A bit pessimistic, wouldn't you think? Well, you'll be happy to know I'm not going to focus on any of those projections of the world ending, but I'm going to focus on the great things that are happening here in Nampa. Winston Churchill once said, "A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty." We have been wading through slow economic times, a recession. And whether or not this is the worst recession ever depends on the length of your memory and its accuracy. There has been a lot of attention on the economy in the Republican presidential debates. If you're following the Republican contest, you know that we've got some candidates actually coming here to Idaho. And if you've been following this and watching news reports, you know that Mitt Romney often brags about his 5 sons. Well, I heard recently that Mitt called those 5 sons in and told them times were so tough, he was going to have to let one of them go. The reality is, these have been tough times for all of us. And although we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, we know there's still some tough times ahead. On the national level, the approval of the president consistently hovers below 50%. And the approval of Congress, who makes the laws and allocates the money, is lower than a snake's belly. Why is this? I believe it's because folks who tend towards the more liberal side of politics are looking to the government, the federal government, to fix the economy, to create jobs, to bring prosperity to individuals, and to take care of everyone's needs. This is not happening fast enough for them, so they're unhappy. Those of us on the more conservative side think the government is already interfering and controlling way too much, and so we're even more unhappy. I'm a fervent believer in the free market system. Historically, recessions are a regular part of economic life. When allowed to operate, the free market will correct, recover, and move on. I believe in opportunity economics. The economy will be healthy when opportunities for business and individuals are plentiful. The economy will not recover on jobs created by the government, on jobs dependent on taxpayer support. Won't happen. Never has, never will. So like the idea of trying to get out of debt by borrowing money. Doesn't work. Our task as city leaders is to provide a safe, stable, and predictable community in which opportunities abound for all people, and in which creative businessmen and women can build and succeed. This is what we strive to do every day because we know it is privately created jobs that will pump life into the economy and create true prosperity. We've been doing this, I think, very efficiently in the city of Nampa. During the past 3 years, the city of Nampa government has shrunk. In 2009, the city workforce was about 578. Today it stands at 528, give or take. That's a reduction of 50 people. 10% reduction in the workforce of the city of Nampa. The only expansion has been the result of the federally mandated stormwater permit, which resulted in us hiring 3 individuals, 2 of which already worked for the city. Since the stormwater utility has generated so much attention, let me just talk about it briefly. October 15th, 2009, because of the requirements of the Federal Clean Water Act, EPA issued the city of Nampa a permit to discharge stormwater into the waters of the United States. The opening paragraph of this permit reads, "The permittee must develop, implement, and enforce a stormwater management program designed to reduce the discharge of pollutants to the maximum extent practicable and to protect water quality in receiving waters." A long list of requirements follows, along with a timeline in which we're supposed to complete those requirements. And just in case you were wondering, EPA has not offered to help us pay for any of these things. We organized a citizens task force to look at all the options for creation and funding of the program. After nearly a year of study and meetings and work, a plan was brought to the City Council for consideration and adoption. The stormwater utility was a result of that plan. In response to issues raised during the implementation phase, a week ago the City Council took action to repeal the stormwater utility. Tomorrow in our City Council workshop, we will begin the process of identifying an alternative funding source for the activities that we're still required to do under the stormwater permit. You are all invited to attend. I'm sure it'll be very interesting and invigorating. Another area of the city being impacted by EPA mandates is our wastewater division. We know that the new permit they are going to issue here probably this year will require us to reduce the amount of phosphorus that we discharge into Indian Creek by nearly 100 times. That's a big number, folks. And it translates into dollars that we will be required to invest in our wastewater system in order to meet that new number. There are a number of ways to get to the new number, and they all end up requiring an investment of about $100 million. Public Works has organized a virtual focus group of about 500 people and a wastewater advisory group of about 50 people who are meeting regularly. Their job is to study all the options and to select one that will work best for the city of Nampa. I never thought studying sewer systems could be fun and interesting. But it is. Well, at least it's interesting. If you would like to be a part of this process, there's always room at the table, either through the virtual focus group or the wastewater advisory group, and I invite you to come. This is a big decision for the city, and we need your help in deciding which way to go. During this recession, every area of city spending has come under close scrutiny by the public, by the media, by your city council, and even by your city employees. This is good. I believe many sets of eyes looking at the same problem from different angles can help us make improvements. Careful stewardship of city resources is common practice and goes on every day amongst your city employees. As for the general financial picture of the city, there are some positive signs of recovery taking place. State shared revenues, largely sales tax, exceeded our finance department's projections by 2%. By their spending patterns, consumers are showing some confidence that the worst of the recession is behind us. It's a change in perception. Another good sign for our economy is an increase in permit revenue. Because of increased construction activity, we have seen a 25% increase in building permit revenues over 2009. We are always looking for ways to improve how we think, ways to improve the culture of how we do business in the city. The city's comprehensive land use map was updated this last year, a major update. Along with that process, we developed a new strategic plan for the city. This process identifies goals and objectives, estimated costs to reach those goals, and suggested strategies for getting us where we need to be. I want you to know your city employees are a big part of this process, a big part of improving how we do business. They take great pride in their work, in being proactive by identifying needs before they become critical. And they are engaging with citizens to create solutions. We want you to know what the city is doing and what your employees are doing. And we are creating a weekly electronic newsletter following the lead of Mayor Beater in Boise. He's got a great newsletter that goes out to folks every week. It's called Mayor's E-News. Want to better inform you of what's going on in your city and how we're spending your money. Information on how to sign up is in that brochure that's on your tables. An example of forward thinking in the city is seen in the Central Services building. 12 years ago, the city bought the old bank building on 11th and 3rd. Knowing that it was intended as a temporary location for Central Services, the city began putting money aside, saving money for the day when it would become necessary to build a permanent location for Central Services. With the new police station online, and the interest in private developers in that block, the time has come to move Central Services back to the City Hall campus. Because of good financial planning, enough money has been saved to be able to pay cash for the needed facility. These are non-property tax dollars which have been reserved for capital needs. This project will consolidate services on the City Hall campus, enhance service to Nampa's citizens, and allow environmental cleanup and infrastructure, water and sewer upgrades that need to occur in that area to move forward so that we can make that block available for private development. Some have the perception that because the economy is slow, progress is not possible. This is a faulty perception. Albert Einstein once said, "In the midst of difficulty lies opportunity." And I believe it was Thomas Edison who once said, "We often miss opportunity because it comes to us dressed in coveralls and looks like work." One of the areas of increasing opportunity we've seen in Nampa is the explosion of educational opportunities. You've heard from two of our educational institutions here this afternoon already, NNU and Nampa Christian Schools. NNU, as you heard, has seen record enrollment and certification of their first doctoral program. One thing Dr. Alexander didn't share with you is that recently a study was completed that shows the financial impact, the economic impact of NNU in the Valley is right about $90 million every year. It's a big player. College of Western Idaho continues to exceed projections with their enrollment pushing towards 9,000. They are right now completing remodel of the Sam's Club building to serve as a permanent home for their professional technical programs. This will further enhance the opportunities there. And the Nampa School District continues to make improvements in the level and quality of the education they are providing to your students here in town. They're always introducing new and innovative and creative programs for the kids. And we're proud to have Stevens Henniker College in town as well, providing more opportunities for people to further their education and improve their lives. Did you know that this last year has seen a steady increase in commercial building in Nampa? And did you know that by nearly every measure our economy has improved since the worst of the recession in 2009? Yesterday I had the opportunity to attend the Commercial Real Estate Symposium over in Boise. I heard that indicators for office, retail, investment, and industrial real estate activities are all trending up. Let me talk one particularly. In the retail sector, they showed what they call the absorption rate. Now, the absorption rate is the rate at which new businesses move into empty existing facilities and take up that space. And they showed this graph in there, and Mayor Beer, did you notice that Nampa was the tallest one there? I mean, everybody was down around here, and Nampa was way up there. That's really good. It shows that the empty commercial spaces that you see around town are being occupied, filled with living, thriving businesses. That's a good indicator. Just last week, Nampa, Idaho was on the front page of the Wall Street Journal. Because of the oil boom in North Dakota, Fleetwood Homes, just on the north side of town over here, has increased production by 25%, allowing them to hire 40 new employees and at the same time increase hours to their existing employees. Let me just point out a few of the projects that are moving forward in Nampa. On the west side of town, the Ventana Business Park, which will house the expansion of St. Luke's Hospital Medical Center and Salter's North Nampa Medical Center, is nearing completion. In fact, I believe Salter moved in there last month. Did they not? I think they're open for business there.
Exactly.
That's right. In fact, this provides a major expansion of healthcare opportunities for our residents. We also saw a major remodel and expansion of Winco, a new Hastings bookstore, and many, many people I've talked to are looking forward with drooling mouths to the opening of the new Texas Roadhouse. Nice. In fact, they're having a ribbon cutting this Friday, I believe, aren't they, Jordan? I think we're going to be there. On the east side, recently announced, St. Al's $30 million expansion project. Going to build a brand new hospital on that site. They will also be doing $3 million worth of renovation at the existing hospital site. At the Gateway development, they continue to fill up spaces over there. This year, we saw Shoe Carnival and a new Panda Express open for business. On the south side of town, Del Taco and Dickey's Barbecue started serving food in Nampa last week. Now, this is a little different here, so stay with me here. One of the shining stars in Nampa's business community is the Idaho Center Auto Mall. Did you know that this retail area, this single retail area, very likely generates more sales tax revenue than any other single retail area in the state? This development was made possible through infrastructure investments made by the first Nampa Urban Renewal District. Did you know Infiniti, Nissan's flagship brand, chose Nampa as its first Idaho dealership? Chose Nampa over all the others. This past year, Grant Peterson and Bronco Motors not only built and opened up the Hyundai store, a $5 million investment, opened up the only Mitsubishi store in the state, but is currently investing $5 million more to build the Infiniti dealership. They plan to be open sometime this summer. And just across the street, Edmark attained the distinction of being the #1 dealership in the state for Chevy, GMC, and Kia. They just completed a $1.5 million renovation of their facility. And next to them, Peterson Stampede Dodge is second only to Dave Smith Motors up in Kellogg, and they sell most of their cars out of state on the internet. Peterson Stampede Dodge is also consistently one of the top Dodge dealerships nationwide for customer satisfaction. Next to them, Van Weebold Ford earned the title of the #1 Ford dealership in the state for the 11th year in a row. And they are in line for the President's Award, which is given to one of the top 5% dealers in the state of, in the entire nation. And I could go on about Tom Scott Toyota, who is consistently #1 or #2 in the state, and always #1 in customer satisfaction. Tom Scott Honda, I could talk about the numerous used car dealerships we see in the city, but you might get the idea I'm just trying to sell cars, and I'm really not. This is great business, though. Downtown investment continues, with the CDBG facade renovation program advancing and businesses investing their own money to make improvements. Most recently, we celebrated the grand opening of Canyon Coin's new location. Mike Richardson invested more than $40,000 remodeling the historic Bank of Nampa building and is open for business. While they were doing that, we discovered that entire cache of historic Civic civil defense stuff down in the basement. And I know Joe Bell got some of those cans, and we had that ribbon cutting the day that I really started getting sick, and I ate some 50-year-old candy, and I thought that I was going to sue Mike for that, but I decided not to let that go. Doc said it wasn't the candy. Well, they're open for business there. On the industrial side of things, just last week, Black Talus America announced a $40 million expansion of their fresh mozzarella operation there. U.S. Bakery and Amalgamated Sugar. And still to come, an expansion of American Tire Distributors. Gortman's Department Store, going to be opening up in March, I think I just heard. Milne Fruit Processor is going to start opening up, they're going to open up a fruit processing location here in Nampa. All of these things are adding jobs to our economy. In addition to all of these, the Chamber has helped out with over 20 small business ribbon cuttings over the year. This is very positive, healthy economic news for the city of Nampa, folks. We need to be grateful for it and allow our perception to be shaped by what we see happening in the city. On the residential side, there are 4 major fourplex developments under construction right now, with more to come. The demand for these rental opportunities is strong. These units are being rented as soon as they're built. In the single-family home residential market, I was just talking to Don Wicks, and he tells me that right now in the city of Nampa we have only a 3-month inventory supply. That's huge. That means the opportunities are going to come. The market is stabilizing. The prices are stabilizing. Values in the county are stabilizing. Things are looking up, folks. All this building activity not only provides good-paying construction jobs, but new, permanent jobs when these businesses open. Why are we seeing this activity? it is not by accident. Nampa has a safe, stable, predictable infrastructure upon which industry can build with confidence. We are blessed with employers who are progressive thinking, and we are further blessed with employees who have a strong work ethic. There are good days ahead for Nampa. There are good days ahead for business in our city. We have seen major transportation improvements this year. Are you enjoying the completed I-84 in Nampa? You like it, right? We need to thank ITD, the state legislature, and anybody who made that happen, because that has been a huge improvement in transportation. In city streets, the rebuilding of 16th and Northside Boulevard has made a real difference to folks entering the city. We also completed a major rebuild of South Power Line from Amity to Skyview High School. Looking to the future, we will see construction of a new roundabout at Star and Franklin, along with rebuild of Franklin Boulevard itself. Purchasing of right-of-way for the Amity project, which will improve Amity from basically NNU all the way out to the Kings Corner bridges, is going on right now. We expect construction to begin next year. And rebuilding of, without a doubt, one of the most problematic intersections in the city, Karcher and Middleton, is funded and expected to start in 2014. We completed a major signal upgrade downtown. 13 signals were replaced at a cost of $1.5 million, of which the city's portion was $100,000. I remember a few years back talking to then Fire Chief Wajak, and he made the comment that that intersection was so bad, the intersection of 11th and 2nd, that he would just sit in his office and kind of listen for the crashes. In the previous 5 years, there were 108 injury accidents at 11th and 2nd. Over the past 7 months now, since this project came online, there's been one. Considering the injuries, the loss of work hours, the property damage that has been avoided because of this improvement, I think that's a pretty good investment of taxpayer dollars. Well, we just completed the construction of the Hugh Nichols Public Safety Building. Through careful construction management and ESI's great work, it was completed on time and on budget. And did you know that by building it in this slow economic time, we saved nearly $6 million? Fire department, police admin, and IT are moved in, and we will be announcing a dedication ceremony for this building in the near future. This building provides adequate space for our great police department that they have been sorely needing for many years. It brings together units that have been scattered around town due to shortages of space. And the secure parking facility will eliminate the vandalism issues we've been facing with open parking for police vehicles. The Nampa PD continues to do a great job of keeping our city and our neighborhoods and towns safe. Public safety remains the #1 job of city government. I believe that with all my heart. A safe community is key to keeping existing business healthy and attracting new business, as well as creating a safe, friendly, progressive environment in which to raise kids. 7 years ago, the City Council made a major decision to bring our police force up to the level they needed to be to keep our neighborhoods and our communities safe. Since that time, we have seen dramatic improvements in public safety every year. This year was no exception. Overall, crimes against society and violence against persons are down in the city. And overall, total crime numbers remain flat in spite of population increases. The Patrol Division is the backbone of the agency. They handled nearly 60,000 calls for service last year, patrolled nearly 1.2 million miles, and made over 15,000 adult arrests. A lot of numbers there. The 7 detectives of the Property Crimes Unit handled over 900 cases last year. Just interesting little factoid here. Nationally, the clearance rate for investigations of this sort is around 29%. Our investigators have managed a 40% clearance rate over the last year and maintained that. That's phenomenal. Let's give them a hand for that. There are a number of innovative programs that have been developed by Nampa Police Department employees that are not only cost-effective, but are making a real difference. One such example is a restorative justice program developed by Sergeant Don Peck to deal more effectively with calls for service at the Idaho State School and Hospital. Sergeant Peck is here today. In fact, he is the president of this year's Leadership Nampa class, which is the class that I'm a part of. Don, where are you? He was on the honor. Oh, he's right over there. Okay, Don Peck over here. The result of this program that he developed is a 27% reduction in calls for service at the state school and hospital, and a 21% reduction in calls for service. Excuse me, got the wrong number there. Another success story is the 1033 program. This computer software program was developed by Nampa officer Jacob Pepper. Is Jacob here? Is he here? Stand up so we can just say thank you. Thank you. This program allows us to load information onto patrol car computers about strategic locations around the city and businesses, so that when officers are responding to an emergency call, they can know what to expect when they get there. Really a good program. Our evidence specialists are responsible for storing nearly 24,000 pieces of evidence. With the new building, they now have a consolidated, modern place to do that. I just hope you notice the difference between the old place and the new place on that picture. Tara Coho in the crime lab completed training and testing as a certified latent print examiner. There are only 800 people with this certification in the entire world, 2 of them in the state of Idaho. We have 1 right here in Nampa. Dispatch is busy 24/7. In the first 11 months of 2011, they received more than 23,000 911 calls and nearly 147,000 non-emergency calls. If you divide that out, that averages out to about 445 calls every day. The IT department implemented an enhanced 911 records management and dispatch system that ensures operation of dispatch even in the event of a catastrophic power failure of some sort. And by the way, I just want to pause here. We need to thank the IT department for their great work in that new building. They moved all the city servers from the old city hall to the new public safety building. In addition to that, they set up all the technological aspects of that building and did a fantastic job. Let's just thank IT. The Records Division helped implement eSite and eLaw and reduce paper copies. And with the change of the county animal shelter, Records is now issuing dog licenses as well. The new building gives far better access for folks to conduct their business quickly and effectively. In November, the city put out a request for qualifications to developers who were interested in developing what we call the pivot block, the block we are vacating. We received 2 proposals from nationally and regionally recognized developers. Last Wednesday, the Nampa Development Corporation approved entering into negotiations with the Gardner Company to serve as the primary and master developer for the pivot block in the new library. The Gardner Company has a strong local presence. They are the company that is doing the Ventana Business Park over there, Salzer and St. Luke's development. They also did the Portico campus in Meridian and are currently the developers for the 8th and Main project in downtown Boise. We are following a plan that was created with the involvement of a large citizen group 6 years ago. It is taking shape, moving forward, and will result in a revitalized downtown through private development, a public plaza for the fountain and the Christmas tree, and a new library for Nampa. There are some who have questioned the need for library space in the internet age. Usage of our library continues to grow with nearly 28,000 visits every month. Circulation is up by 9,000, and library programs for kids and adults grew more than 18,000. Our library does an incredible job of maximizing an outdated, inadequate space to its maximum potential. The demand for a new library is only going to grow in the coming years, and we are taking positive steps to see that happen. Legendary UCLA basketball coach John Wooden once said, "Don't let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do." We try to keep that in mind every day here in the city of Nampa. Example, right here in the Civic Center, we needed a new sign out front. I don't know if you noticed, but the old sign, the lights were burned out, it wasn't working, and you couldn't fix it. Well, there was no money in the budget to make that happen. Zero. No money. But that didn't deter Martin Thorne. He got busy with the Nampa Civic Center Foundation, and today, because of the result of their work, through the generosity of Wells Fargo Bank and a grant from Idaho Power, we now have a new sign out front. Not only is it a great display that will let people know what's happening here, but it's more efficient. It reduces the ongoing cost of power by more than $5,000 every year. Let's thank Wells Fargo, Idaho Power, the Nampa Civic Center Foundation, and Martin Thorne for getting that done. Well, Nampa is blessed with a robust Parks and Recreation program which provides recreational opportunities for thousands of kids and adults alike. Did you know the opportunities range from swimming lessons to museum tours, from youth golf opportunities to senior adult trips up to McCall for the Winter Festival up there? Perhaps Nampa Parks and Rec is best known for our state-of-the-art facilities, the Nampa Rec Center and our great golf courses, Ridgecrest and Centennial. Many may not realize that the expenses, the direct expenses for these amenities are fully supported by user fees, not tax dollars. The Rec Center Scholarship Program awarded 400 scholarships this year to help individuals and families needing a little bit extra help. For the last several years, the city of Nampa has offered full family memberships to families in all branches of the military with spouses who are deployed to war regions. This past year, we awarded 43 memberships to military families. This is just one small way we can honor these families for their service and say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. One of the bright spots for me personally is the opportunity to work with some of Nampa's finest students. The Nampa Mayor's Teen Council is open to all high school students in the city. This past year, they accomplished some wonderful service projects. Highlights included volunteering at the Idaho Special Olympics up in McCall and our Adopt a Family program that we do every year at Christmas time. Partnering with Centennial Job Corps and the Salvation Army, they provided an incredible Christmas for a family whose father died suddenly 2 years ago. Mom is raising 3 young kids alone on minimum wage. The family was loaded up with presents, stockings, and a Christmas dinner. And we need to just say thank you to Sam Duraggio of the Centennial Job Corps. He cooks that dinner every year for us. And I don't know if you've ever had Sam's cooking, but it is fabulous, and we really appreciate what they do. Thanks to the generosity of local businesses and the Nampa Kiwanis Club, 4 Teen Council members were able to go to Washington, D.C. last March and attend the National League of Cities conference. There they participated in leadership building activities, as well as presenting a white paper to our congressional delegates. Last year, their white paper was on the value of continued support for Centennial Job Corps. This year, crosswalk safety is a big issue for the Mayor's Teen Council, and they've taken it on. They are working on 2 public service announcements and an education program for elementary through high school students. Where are you guys? Stand up. Let's thank them for their work. Where are they? Stand up. Oh, and by the way, they are putting on a spaghetti feed. Jordy, where's that $5 that you tried to give to Dale and he gave back to you? It's in your, well, I will trade you this ticket to the Mayor's Teen Council spaghetti dinner, meatballs with the mayor for that $5 in your purse or wherever it's at. Okay? There you go. They have tickets today, and they'd be happy to sell you tickets. So I want to say, please buy some of those tickets. They're only $5. It's February 25th at Nampa High School. Buy tickets, give them to your family, your friends, your work associates, your employees, your enemies, anybody. Just buy some tickets. We need the support. This Christmas, I was given a remarkable book called How Full Is Your Bucket, written by Tom Rath. The theory behind it is this. Each of us is given an invisible bucket. It is constantly being emptied or filled, depending on what others say or do to us. When our bucket is full, we feel great. When it is empty, we feel awful. Each of us also has an invisible dipper. When we use that dipper to fill other people's buckets by saying or doing things that increase their positive emotions, we also fill our own buckets. But when we use that dipper to dip from other people's buckets by saying or doing things that decrease their positive emotions, we diminish ourselves as well. Like the cup that runneth over, a full bucket gives us a positive outlook on life and renewed energy. Every drop in that bucket makes us stronger and more optimistic. But an empty bucket poisons our outlook, saps our energy, and undermines our will. Every time somebody dips from our bucket, it hurts us. So we face a choice every moment of every day. We can fill one another's buckets or we can dip from them. It's an important choice, one that profoundly influences our relationships, productivity, our health, and our happiness. And you know, it doesn't really take much to fill somebody else's bucket. After picking up a few things at the grocery store, 3 days after I was released from the hospital, I felt a gentle tap on my back. I turned around, and an elderly lady that I did not know was looking up at me, and she said, "I just want to tell you how good it is to see you up and about. I've been praying for you. You're doing such a great job as mayor." I want to tell you, I don't know if I actually walked out of that grocery store or just kind of floated out, but she filled my bucket to overflowing with that brief 15-second encounter. We are blessed to live in a wonderful city with lots of bucket fillers. Did you know that more than 1,400 people volunteered to help rake up and brush up Nampa this past year? And because of the donations of food, money, and hours of volunteer labor, several thousand people were fed, provided with food for the home and toys for the kids, under the leadership of the Salvation Army and the Lighthouse Rescue Mission during the Christmas season. Nampa High School students came up with nearly 17,000 food items this year. I believe that's a record. Isn't that, Allison? I think that was a record. More than ever before. And that food all went into the Idaho Food Bank. And the Salvation Army Kettle Drive, and this year when we still don't know whether or not we're going to have a positive perception or a negative perception, this year the Salvation Army Bucket Drive in our community, I think generated about $13,000 more than it did last year. Incredible response. We are indeed a community blessed by the generosity of so many. I close with a story of how perceptions have changed in our fire department. A few years ago, the Nampa Fire Department and the Canyon County Paramedics District were experiencing ongoing conflicts out in the field. Ideally, upon arriving at a medical call, they would use the same medical protocols, provide seamless service to the patient, and get things rolling really quickly. For a variety of reasons, this was not happening. The perception out there, for some reason, had developed that we were in competition against each other. We're kind of fighting each other for something. I'm not exactly sure where that all came from. Today, because of the ongoing efforts of Chief Carl Malott, Canyon County Paramedics Director Greg Owen, and other Canyon County first responders, the culture has changed. When both agencies arrive on scene today, They are now under the same medical director, using the same medical protocols, providing seamless care to the patient. The perception today, rather than competition, is one of teamwork and cooperation, and it provides seamless care to the patient, getting them to the hospital, getting them the care they need on the spot. Let me share one example with you. A few months ago, a young man approached one of our deputy chiefs while he was eating lunch at a Subway. This young man stated he'd had a heart attack the prior year, and if it were not for the efforts of the Nampa Fire Department and the Canyon County paramedics, he would not be alive today. He wanted to thank the crew that saved him and say how grateful he was to be alive to watch his children grow up. Upon receiving the call, firefighters responded and paramedics responded. And when they arrived on the scene, they both worked together and were able to provide prompt and effective treatment, and it saved his life. First responders rarely get the opportunity to put a face on their emergency efforts and what good can come from being there in a life and death situation when seconds count. Jeremy Nowland and his family are the face, the living, breathing proof of what can and does happen every day when the 911 calls come in, all hours of the day or night. The facts, numbers, and statistics are easy to overlook, but not a father and his family. We are fortunate to live in a community that has such great, well-trained, and equipped emergency personnel who work well together. Jeremy's here today, and I'd like to ask Jeremy to come up here along with Chief Molat, Greg Owen. I think you were going to be here, and any of the crew members who are on that call today. I think we've got a number of them here. Would you just come up? I'd like you all to meet these people, see the real face of what happens out there in the field. Come on up. Okay, all right. Well, we just want to thank you for your diligence, for your expertise, for the hours and hours you spent in training and preparing. And I want to thank the people of Nampa, the taxpayers of Nampa, who have stepped up and said, we will be willing to pay for this level of professional service that we can provide to our residents. It makes a real difference in people's lives. So you guys just stay here. I'm closing, and I want to close with a really neat thing. Have you been catching any of the 120 stories for 120 years of history of Canyon County on Channel 2? Anybody been noticing some of those? Those are some great stories. One of the great ladies in Nampa's history was Annie Laurie Bird. She wrote several books about our community. In 1934, she wrote, "Here we shall build a city, not in a single day, nor in a single year, but slowly through the years until at last, towering above the plains, will be the city beautiful, Nampa." We are still becoming the city beautiful. I look out across this crowd, and I am humbled and grateful to live in a city and serve the city beautiful. Folks, let's keep that perception in mind in all that we do to serve our customers, to serve our families, to serve our neighbors in our community. Now go out there and fill up somebody's bucket today. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I didn't tip it over like this.